I don't know where the suffering ends. Do you know what? Like, yesterday was just meant to be the perfect day, and we just still couldn't get it done. Welcome back to the day after the game before, and Tottenham have been pretty much humiliated 3-0 by Nottingham Forest, our relegation rivals. 3-0. I'm going to get obviously into more detail, but my overriding feeling is where where for the rest of the season are we going away and winning 3-0? Do you know what I mean? For all the good faith and the good performances that the players have put in over the last week, this was meant to be the perfect send off before the international break, and that is what we do. Have to start pre-game with the atmosphere. The real shame of this whole weekend is that Tottenham fans are the ones being mugged off and a parade for a relegation 6 pointer that you lost, and yeah, God forbid the fans show that the team show the team that we're with them. Do you know what I mean? God forbid that we show that we support them and we're there. I left my house at 8 o'clock in the morning yesterday to get up there. Very early, by the way. Probably could have had another hour in bed, but I did it anyway. Was in the bricklayers for a bit. The flares were even going off inside the bricklayers, and then we're outside waiting for about 2 hours, song after song. Smoke bomb after smoke bomb. It was unbelievable. When the parade happened for the Europa League final, I just recovered from a hip replacement, so I went, but I was on a crutch, and unfortunately the people safeguarding the disability area didn't see that as a good enough reason to get me in there, so I sort of had to just stand for about 7 hours, which wasn't too fun. I'll be honest, it wasn't too fun. So yesterday was for me was like an insight as to what it would be like on a smaller scale, but I just loved it. Do you know what I mean? It was unbelievable. And joke's on me, because I am one of the most pessimistic Tottenham fans you'll ever find, right? Just never confident for a game. But in my head yesterday, there was no conceivable way we weren't winning. Do you know what I mean? Like, the high was too good not to ride. And I was right there on it. I was right there just thinking it was impossible. Like, there was no way we were going to have the good week that we've had. The pre-match scenes like we did, just for the players to then go and not put a performance on. Until about 5 minutes before the game, when I was speaking to the guy next to me, and I went, it would be so Tottenham if we put all that on and then lost. But even that was half in jest, do you know what I mean? That was just mere half joking. And then we just went and, did exactly that. Obviously, condolences to Tudor for whatever family issues going on right now. I hope he takes as much time as he needs. We've got an international break. So condolences for that. But yes, I thought he got it wrong. I thought from the lineup he got it wrong. Xavi Simons scored 2 midweek. The team are looking like a little bit consistent, and then you go and change it all. Do you know what I mean? Like, Xavi Simons probably sat on the bench and what can I do? And I know Xavi Simons divides opinion, and I know people, we haven't got the output from him that we probably want or deserve, right? But he creates chaos, he creates moments. And when Solanke and Richarlison are going to have an off day like they did yesterday, because I thought they were both really, really poor, a midfield four of Porro, Gray, Sarr and Tell aren't going to be able to sort of bridge that gap into the final third. Tell was trying his absolute bollocks off in the first half. Fair play to him. I know people don't rate him, but we would be a lot worse without him. He's just very good. Like, he just tries and he tries. He takes his man on. If he gets beat, guess what? He takes him on again. Gray yesterday, first half, was like spraying some unbelievable diagonal balls. But unfortunately, without a 10 in that system to link the midfield and the front attackers, it's just an absolute gulf. Do you know what I mean? Like, you can't bridge that gap. But saying that, as much as I don't, I didn't agree with the lineup. First half, it was working. We were in control. And it was funny, before their corner, obviously just before half time, again, me and the bloke next to me saying it would be very Forest, I say Forest now winning scored this just before half time. And they did. And you go, fucking hell. That's gutting. Hopefully we don't panic and make any silly substitutions. You see where I'm going with this? Okay. So then second half rolls out, you take off Van de Ven and you take off Spence, and you go, right, okay, like maybe Van de Ven was injured. Do you know what I mean? That's fine. And then you bring on Udogie and Bergvall, so you go for a flat back four and a midfield three of Gray, Sarr, and Bergvall, who are essentially like pretty much a mishmash of the same profile. And again, nothing to link to the forwards. Like it just isn't rocket science. And I know we've now we've had injuries and yada yada yada, but we're now we have too many players to not be playing them in their right position. And I know Romero's getting cooked for the second goal, and it's really poor. But the worst thing about Romero is his jumping out that we've seen quite a lot this year. Sunderland comes to example, like where he goes out. It only really happens when we're 1-0 down. Do you know, like, it's like he's so frustrated and he has to jump out, and then they play around us and they score two. Do you know what I mean? Like, obviously he does it sometimes, and sometimes he terrifies me when he does, because it's like he's either winning the ball or getting sent off. But it only ever feels like it leads to a goal when we're already 1-0 down, and he just confirms it. And of course it was Gibbs White. Like, it was just written in the stars that he was going to score. And I would have put a bet on it if there was anything in my mind that could even conceive us losing that game. But I was confident yesterday. Like, joke's on me, shame on me. I fully thought we were going to do the business yesterday. And yeah, that's a sobering reminder as to who Tottenham really are. So Romero was poor, and then you find out that Van de Ven wasn't even injured. It was a tactical choice. And you just go, what was the planning there? That just doesn't make sense. As much as Mickey Van de Ven has, been off the ball this season, you still play him. Do you know what I mean? We've got a 3-week break coming up, so it's not about fitness. And I think he's been suspended for the last couple of games, so it's not as if he's being ran into the ground. You play him. You just do. On a separate note, I thought the ref was absolutely appalling yesterday. Every 50-50 we didn't get. I think we could have had 2 or 3 pens in the first half if our players actually went down. Like, they were too sort of focused on getting the shot off or getting the pass off that they carried on. But go down. Like, we haven't had a penalty all season. And I'm not saying we need to start cheating our way, but if they went down and there was contact like it looked like there was, we get the penalty. Like, it's not rocket science. But the ref yesterday was just atrocious. And I don't want to be all like tinfoil hatty, but it feels like everything is conspiring against us at the moment, like, for us to go down. And the referee performance yesterday doesn't do a lot to dispel that myth, because Michael Oliver did not want to give us a single thing. But back to the game, and then Xavi Simons gets brought on with 23 minutes left, and at that point it's just, do you know what I mean? We were so disjointed yesterday. We was the second half, we were pretty much just all over the place. It was really, really poor. We let Awaniti score. Do you know what I mean? That's how bad it is. And as soon as that goal went in, left the stadium, started walking towards White Hart Lane Station. This station is closed. Please make your way to Seven Sisters. And and you go, oh my God. What can you do at that point? Can't even rage, can't even moan. Now it's got to do a 25-minute walk with thousands of others. Everyone just fuming. I just don't know where we go from here. For the first time, I'm just at a loss with words. What do we do with the manager? Where's our next win coming from? Are we staying up? I don't know. Because every week this season, it gets to a point where, you go, oh, Tottenham will be alright, we'll figure something out. We are running out of time. We really are running out of time. And when we return from the international break, West Ham play on the Friday. So by the time we play, we could be in the relegation zone already. And I don't know if these players have the bottle to get themselves out of it from that point. All the while we're hovering above it, you can go, we're alright. As soon as they drop into it, I have a horrible, horrible feeling that they are not going to know what to do to get themselves out. And the problem is with our season, a large portion could be summed up as, a lack of effort from the players. But I don't think we've really got that yesterday. I think they were trying, But now it becomes a lack of quality. Because for all their trying, we didn't really muster any sort of unbelievable chances. There was one that got dragged back and, we just missed it. But now it's just this season's been a cocktail mix of a lack of effort, and now that they're putting the effort in, it's still a lack of quality. It's just a two-edged sword, and we don't win either way. But yeah, like I'm just at a bit of a loss for words. Like I said, I left my house yesterday at 8 o'clock, got home at 7:30, and you just sit there and you think, why? Do you know what was the point? There was a lovely day of football on yesterday. You had the Newcastle game. Well, you then had our game. Then you had the Carabao Cup final. Could have just stayed home with my feet up. Joke's on me for, spending money to go and support them. Getting up there hours early. Singing. I've got a sore throat. I think purely from smoke inhalation. But also, everyone involved with arranging that parade. I hate using the word parade, but you know what I mean. That bus welcome should be so proud. I've already reached out to Billy and said, obviously I don't know the wider scope of everyone who's involved, but it was unbelievable. The fans did their part yesterday. So when we've been called entitled or spoiled over the last few months by the media, the fans have been dug out by Thomas Frank and this, that and the other. The fans showed up yesterday, and the fans will always show up. They'll go again for the next game. But it's time for these players to start rewarding that consistently. Stop giving us, 2 good performances, then a shit one. How about we string 3 together? How about we win a game in the league this season? Because I'm pretty sure it'll be April by the time we play again, and we still don't have a win. I feel myself getting annoyed again. But yeah, international break coming up. Don't know if there'll be any videos, really. I'll just try and switch off from Tottenham as much as possible. But share your thoughts on the game yesterday. Let me know anything I missed. I think I covered everything. Yeah, Tottenham. What are we going to do?